So, people pleasing becomes a money wound. You were probably taught that love is something you have to earn, that being a good girl, agreeable, quiet, helpful would keep you safe, right? That if you were nice enough, polite enough, generous enough, you'd be loved, you'd be safe. But what you really learned was compliance, not self worth. You learned that safety comes from being digestible, from never being too much, from keeping the peace, even when it cost you your voice. And now, fast forward to adulthood, you undercharge, you overdeliver, you apologize for simply existing. You're afraid to ask for more, afraid to say no, afraid to take up space because your nervous system is still carrying this little script that says, if I don't please them, I'll lose love, I'll lose safety. And if I'm entirely honest, it's exhausting, and not to mention it's self abandonment, right? Pretending your needs don't exist, bending over backwards for clients, employers, even friends, while quietly resenting how little you're receiving in return. You forget that love that has to be earned isn't love, and wealth that demands your self abandonment, that isn't wealth, that's just spiritual poverty, wearing a bit of glitter, right? There is nothing noble about betraying yourself to be liked, to be accepted. But most people have no idea they're doing this. They think being nice is just it's just their personality. They don't see that it's a survival pattern, one that started in childhood and now leaks into everything, especially money, especially your finances. You say yes to working late. You don't charge your worth. You justify your tiny raise by saying it's fair or they can't afford more. You tell yourself a life of comfort is enough. You don't need extravagance. And then wonder why your soul feels like it's slowly wilting, right? You have an inner nudge to go bigger, but you ignore it. Because if you did charge more or claim more or raise your hand and say, actually, I deserve better, you'd feel guilty, arrogant, even unsafe. And that's not by accident, it's the conditioning, it's the false code. Somewhere along the way, your body decided receiving money feels bad. Receiving per se feels bad. It feels like pressure, it feels like risk, it feels like you're being too much. So your subconscious, in its infinite effort to protect you, pushes money away or creates burnout or keeps you stuck in cycles of overwork and underpay. Not because you're lazy, lackadaisical, or broken, or lacking ambition, but because your body is still trying to protect the 5-year-old version of you who learned love is earned, worth is conditional, and wanting more makes you a problem. And I mean, bloody hell, it's heartbreaking because you're not actually afraid of money. You're afraid of what money might mean about you, right? You're afraid of being rejected, being resented, being seen as selfish or too ambitious or greedy, or you're not relatable, right? So you shrink, you smile, you take what you're given and say, thank you, much obliged, even when your soul is screaming for more. Your soul is so dissatisfied. But here's the thing no one tells you: being liked won't build your legacy. Being digestible won't fund your dreams and goals. Being nice won't pay your bloody rent. It's time to stop betraying yourself in the name of being liked, right? Because the cost isn't just emotional, it's financial too. I'm not saying you have to stop people pleasing overnight. Right? I'm not saying that, because that's not possible. That's not how nervous systems work, right? You don't just wake up one day and say, right, I'm done being agreeable and docile, and boom, boundaries activated, rates doubled, self-worth fully intact. No, it's a process, okay? So you start small. You start by saying no to the coffee you don't want to grab, okay? You start by checking your gut before saying, sure, I can do that. Remember, your body is the barometer for your truth, so listen to your body. You start by pausing and asking, what do I need here? And you honor that. With every decision you make, you honor yourself. You learn to set boundaries, not because you're cold or difficult, but because your body finally realizes it's safe to be honest. You start to prioritize your own needs, not as a betrayal to others, but as a return to yourself. You begin valuing your work, your time, your energy, your contribution, because you're no longer performing worthiness. You're remembering it, you're embodying it. And slowly, your money starts reflecting that, right? Your bank account stops echoing your guilt, your shame, your your pricing stops mirroring your shame, right? You stop bleeding cash from 1,000 tiny yeses you never meant to give, because you're no longer outsourcing love. You're no longer trying to buy safety with with your silence, with your passivity. And that is when wealth becomes a mirror of worthiness, not performance. You don't have to be the good girl anymore. You just have to be you, your sovereign self. I know that's not going to happen very quickly, but let's take baby steps. We're going to get there, okay? I hope that all makes sense. I know my content is very nuanced, so please, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, or if you want to talk, you can email me. I'm sure my email is somewhere in the description below. And thank you so much for your time. Sending you love, and I will see you in a jiffy.